focus, and today's focus is really on lymphatic flow, which is a great system. Not everyone is super familiar with it, so I'll just give you a little idea of how the lymphatic system supports us, and then we'll get into some of the simple things that we can do, whether it's throughout a flow like today, and there's little bits that you can always chunk off and at any time add into your routine, and it's going to help. So the lymph system is responsible for filtering about half of our blood volume daily. So it goes around and it collects any debris, whether it's like from a bruise, like the little dead cells in there, any toxins or anything that is not being needed or uptake by the body. And so we want to basically be filtering that all the time, so that if we have any bad germs in there as well, the lymphatic system is responsible for sending lymphocytes, which are our like white blood cells or immune boosting cells, out to the body. So the more we can support this flow throughout the body, the better health we're going to have. It's going to help with our sleep as well, and it's great for insomnia, for getting better rest, immune system, and just general. If you get inflammation of the joints, that's going to be a little bit of swelling that happens because the fluid's not moving. The reason why it's super important for us to do this work that we're going to be doing today is the lymph system, unlike the circulatory system, it doesn't have its own pumps. You know, the heart beats, pumps the blood throughout. Lymphatic system relies on our joints movement to create a pumping action, as you can see here. And because we have a lot more sedentary lifestyles now, we're not getting as much of that pumping effect as we may have gotten before. Super simple, because we are going to do all kinds of fun stuff to boost it. So if you have your little oil that you feel comfortable putting on your face, I have this serum here, olive oil or coconut oil, grapeseed oil, anything that you have in a pinch. Any lotion you feel comfortable with. I'm just going to go ahead and start by putting 2 pumps in my palm. We're just going to use this to create a little bit of glide over the skin. The lymphatic system is just below the skin, so it's not really deep under muscle, so you don't have to be activating a lot of muscle tissue to get it to work for us. And what we're always going to do with the lymphatic work is we're going to clear the terminus. Basically, all of the lymphatic fluid gets its final clarification, clarity, cleaning, clearing all through right here. So we are going to pump that to open it up. So all the rest of the work that we do, we've got an open little cleansing valve. And in order to do that, it's really simple. We're just going to bring our fingertips, we're just lightly tugging on the skin down and in. So it's going to be like almost a little L. And we're going to do about 50 of those. If counting isn't like a fun, relaxing thing for you, we're just going to go for about 5 deep breaths. And this is really great if you have postnasal drip or anything like that as well. You might actually feel some of this drainage happening. If you wake up with like a puffy face or puffy under eyes, tension from clenching the jaw, you might really feel some stuff moving around just through here. I love this. It's very calming. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that my favorite thing about the lymphatic system and activating it is that it engages our parasympathetic nervous system. Let's do 2 more nice breaths like this, feels great. Parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for the rest and digest, as opposed to fight or flight system that we find ourselves in all of the time. So we're engaging that rest and digest, which will help us to rest and digest. Now that we have that clear here, we're going to go up into the face. So what I like to do is take my thumbs and a hook of my index finger, and I'm just going to press my thumb under my chin, not a ton of pressure, and create a little pinch here. I would say it's about a 1 to 1.5 pressure on a scale of 1 to 10. And I'm just squeegeeing along the jawline, kind of sculpting, getting a little bit more of that serum on my fingers. If it feels dry and not glidey, you can give it a little tap. We're just getting some of that serum or oil. And nice. For this one, I can really feel as I get to the back of the jawline where there's some more tension, maybe a little bit more stagnation. I should do a couple of these. Awesome. It's nice when you get to the end, you can kind of hook that little, your knuckle in and give yourself a little run down. It's almost like lymph, 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 and then we do a little deep tissue hook. Let's do one more just like that. And then right about there, just dig my little knuckle in. Beautiful. Now we're going to take our hands in little L's like a shouting, and we're going to let the whole of the finger come into contact with the face, and just squeezing together and now pulling open and up a little bit as if we were looking in the mirror in the morning. It's also great for opening the sinuses, which we'll get into more as well. Beautiful. From here, we're going to do hands chasing hands. I'm just lightly running my fingers along my third eye, forehead, effectively smoothing out any of that tension. I'm a big eyebrow furrower. It's better when I wear my glasses, but I still get a little scrunch. So this is nice. It warms up the tissue, which actually has a releasing effect for the underlying fascia, which is great for avoiding those little deep wrinkles that can pop up. Perfect. From there, we're going to go ahead and bring our thumbs. So I like to support my thumbs with my finger, with my index finger, like a little at the seam here. And we're going to find this point. It's essentially, let me come a little closer. It's essentially where the bridge of your nose meets the ridge of your eyebrows. It's in that little socket, the bone that creates the socket of the eye. You just feel around in there until you feel that little indentation divot. And you might even feel, you'll know you're on the spot when you feel like more pressure, or some of the pain of the pressure will refer back around the head. And that can be from a lot of tension there. So we're going to hang out here. Go ahead and center your breathing. I love while we're holding this point, we're on our little seat bones. You can really feel this place around the third eye, and you can really feel your sits bones pressing into the floor, and you can kind of become this conduit of energy from above to below, which is a nice kind of yin and a yang, grounded versus like from the heavens. And you can feel how your body in this way is a conduit for the energy, and you're kind of like translating what's of the earth and what's of like the universe through our little human orbs. So from there, we're going to go ahead, keep our thumbs, we're going to ride along the inside of this eye socket for this whole thing, but basically our thumbs are going to stay hooked in. I'm going to bring my index finger and just pinch my little eyebrows over my thumb. We're going to do a couple of those. Definitely don't poke yourself in the eyeball with the thumb, but you'll feel that little bone's a good way to give your hand some stability. Let's do a couple of those. And definitely if you find a spot like right here on my left side, I get a little bit more of like a tension feeling. So I'm just going to shake it out a little bit. And that's just like a little vibration in my hand. And that's going to encourage the muscles that are holding tight to release. And then keep pinching out. Beautiful. We're going to get into our jaws a little bit. So you can feel around for your cheekbone. It's a little different on all of us, and mine is definitely hidden under some cheeks. And when you find that bone, just bring it back to the line where it almost comes to your ear, and let your fingertips just fall right beneath the bone, and you're now in this whole chunk of muscle that really can get knotted up on us and tight. And we're going to let the fingertips hang out in here. go ahead and you're squeezing the arms together, and you're going to be giving yourself, I'm probably at about a 3.5 to 4 pressure on 1 to 10. And what we're doing, maintaining that pressure, we're going to just let the jaw open as we drag the hands down the muscle there. Let's do a good amount of those. And just coming back up to the start and letting the jaw open. And we're just dragging down. And this is warming up this muscle tissue. The fascia that can be extra binding can almost turn into a scar tissue like consistency if it gets super dehydrated. So especially what we're doing is encouraging blood flow to this area, which is going to bring that nutrient dense oxygenated blood, which is what hydrates the cells and will turn that like scar tissue-y, knotty, overdeveloped fascia back into some nice healthy tissue that won't get as beefed up on us. So from there, we're going to take our palms of our hands, the heels of the hand, and we're going to just press into that muscle that we were just warming up. And from here, same thing, we're just going to give, I would do about a 2.5 to 3 pressure because our arms are stronger in this pose. So we're just pressing in. You can feel the bridge of your hand is right underneath that cheekbone, so you know that your whole palm is on the length of that muscle. Pressing in, and we're just going to open and close the mouth, maintaining the pressure on the jaw. You can play around with moving the hands further back. You can go kind of right into the lip, the muscle, you'll feel it kind of falls off. And you can just press into the front of that. And pressing in, we're going to just move the jaw left to right a couple times. Staying in a safe range for your body. Beautiful. Bringing the heels of our hands together again, we're going to move from the bottom, the chin here, up to the forehead. So we're just going to press the chin into the hands and opening up. And we're going to ride the whole line of the face. With an out and kind of slightly upward motion. You look nice and silly. Oh, it feels great on the eyebrows. I'm going to do 2 on the eyebrows. Lightly pressing my head forward. Lovely. Now a great point we're going to get into, I'm going to take my peace fingers and cross them over so I almost have like a double pad of my finger. I'm going to go on either side of my nostrils, just pressing up into the right underneath the bone, the apple of the cheek. We're really opening up here, so large intestine point, taking nice deep breaths. This is huge for relieving allergies, sinus headaches, boosting the immune system. It's harder to talk when you're pressing your lip, huh? A really important thing when, especially we're working on a large intestine point, because it is so important with the cleansing of the body, I want to remind everyone, the lymphatic system is going to be, getting rid of all of this icky debris that we're clearing out and moving through the lymph nodes. And in order to effectively rid the body of these toxins, we just need to be drinking like a good amount of water. And I think a safe way to estimate how much water, go ahead and keep taking those nice deep breaths. A safe way to estimate how much water you should be drinking is you take your body weight in pounds, cut it in half, and that's a fair estimate of how many ounces of water you should be drinking. And then add more if you're drinking any alcohol or caffeine, because those can dehydrate you. Beautiful. Taking those same peace fingers, opening them up, and we're going to pump along. So the pointer finger is right behind my ear, my middle finger is in front, and I'm just pumping on an upward motion here. And at the top, I'm going to press my thumb into the seam of the ear, and with my other fingers, I'm just going to lightly pull and roll the ear over the thumb. Let's do a couple rounds. This is huge. A lot of the nerves interact in the ear here, and this can have really relieving, stress relieving effects on the body. So this one, more than anything, if you're having like a very stressful moment and you're able to like find that you're feeling overwhelmed, give yourself a little secret ear massage, and it should really help, especially keeping that focus on the breathing down into our bellies. I love that. We're going to take our hands, cross them in front of us, bring our fingertips behind the neck, and we're just going to be encouraging. So we just cleared so much lymph and little icky tension from the face, and we're just going to be encouraging it back down to those points that we cleared before, right? Created a highway to healing, and now we're racing the tracks. Beautiful. From here, we're going to take the fingertips. They're going to look like this. We're bringing them behind the neck. I'm going to show you. You're going to create a kind of a little vault, little hooks of the fingers. And we're going to find the top little spiky point. This is our vertebra in our neck, so a little cervical vertebra. You're going to find that point with the fingertips together and just let them gently come apart. So you've fallen off the bone and you're in that like ropey muscle where a lot of the tension comes. It's responsible for holding up our heads and doing a lot of stabilization. So with the elbows pointing up, I'm just going to use the weight of my elbows pulling down to let my fingertips glide along the neck. And I'm going to do that the whole way down. So I was on the top vertebra. Now I'm going to just feel around, go to the second one. Fingers fall to the side, arms pull down. And I'm giving myself a good amount of pressure here because it feels good. And when I get down into this little trap area, these little babies, especially if you're like me and I can find my shoulders riding up to my ears, we're going to give ourselves, we're going to do the line of the shoulders, so we'll do about 3 or 4. Really simply pressing into the back and then using the elbows pulling down to warm up the body. So we're warming up this whole trap. A lot of these little scalenes come in there. And now that we've brought some blood flow into the area, and you can feel it's physically warmer, we're going to do the same thing about 4 or 5, but when we're pulling the elbows down, we're going to counteract by just looking up towards the ceiling. Not going too far out of your range, but because we have our hands supporting along that muscle, we're actually going to be supporting the stretch in this way as well. And you'll be able to feel your little stress marbles. Or at least I know I can. I can't be alone in that. There's little icky stuff in these muscles. And we're encouraging that to flow. Beautiful. I really like that. It feels so good and open and warm. And that's a little one you can also do whether you're at the desk. I definitely recommend how we did. We warmed it up without bringing in the rotation of the neck. So when you're moving through, everything's got some flow. Any of the little bones that were being tugged out of alignment are going to gently go back into their home. So that's going to be a safer way to move through all of this. We're going to get into my favorite of the lymph node catchment sites, which is the axillary. Fancy word for our armpitties. I'm going to bring a little bit more serum for this one. This is a really huge spot because we have been wearing deodorant so many years of our lives, and not all of us up until recently were wearing natural deodorants, and so all of the toxins that would have been getting excreted through the body have been pushed back into our breast tissue, blocking in here. So that's just like a tail of that. Basically, we're going to just be rubbing the armpits, so away from the arm, we're clearing this. It's going a little bit down and then up. So you can do little strokes. You can do 5 down towards the chest, 5 up towards the terminus. Or you can do like more of like a little scoop. It's really up to you what feels good. And I'm giving myself a good little grip. If you're feeling like your muscles under your skin, you might be pressing too hard, but it is this tug and pull motion that creates a vacuum of pressure that helps the lymph to move. That might be like way too much information, but I just don't really believe in such a thing, so. Beautiful. And now I'm going to switch to the other pity. This one's one that I think can be counterintuitive, because we think like in lymph you're always moving up and towards the heart, right? And in this case it feels like we're going down, but really we're going up because the arm would be below. We're just creating more space. So again, pulling towards the chest and a little bit up towards that collarbone. Whether it's little stroke, or a whole scoop. And we're going to give ourselves a nice chest pull. So as you'll see, it's like we clear this, we fill this, we clear this, we fill this. We're, making space to move everything through. So we cleared here, and now we're going to just start to clear everything. And I'm just going to be pulling gently away. I can show you, your hands can go on the side of the chest, males and females alike, of course, and just pull back. If that's a little bit uncomfortable for your arms, it's really simple to go one side at a time, and we're pressing away, up towards that axillary that we just cleared. So you could do like a whole stroke here. And it can be over the clothes, under the clothes. I have a whole idea for like an entire breast health, dry skin brushing, lymphatic massage video. It's just difficult for obvious reasons to figure out how to make it a healthy video and not like stressful for people, but it's one of my dream projects. And again, moving this fluid here, imagine you're squeezing honey, thick honey, out of a sponge. That's my favorite way to envision. That's the kind of pressure we're giving. You know, you wouldn't squeeze out the sponge. We're just giving it that light encouragement. Huge, really great for eliminating the toxins, males and females alike. This whole area can get very congested. We're going to get into some fun arm stuff, which I really like, and was excited to get into this today. I was working on my computer for about 8 hours today and 5 hours yesterday, and I was like, oh, this is going to be really great to move some of this around. So as we cleared the axillary for the chest, we also clear it for the arms. Arms are a big one because this pumping motion has to happen. So what we're going to be doing to start is I'm going to take a little grip of my wrist, and we're going to do both sides top and with the hand flipped. But to begin, we're just going to be giving ourselves like a little ring. And each time I pull up, we're going a little bit further. I backtrack a little, I pull up further, and that's how we're gently working our way up. You can do some nice clearing for the elbow. When we clear the elbow, we're going to be going in towards the body. So as we create that little swoop, we're encouraging it up because, right, that makes sense. We're moving the fluid up towards our armpit. And you might be doing this and this feels really good. And you're like, oh, okay. Not an area that gets a lot of stimulation or touch. And again, it's a huge lymph node site. Not as big as the axillary, those big catchment sites, but there's a lot going on in here. And now back to the bottom. I did the top. I'm going to flip the hand, and I'm going to squeeze the lymphatic toothpaste up the arm. And when I get to the elbow here, I am going to flip the arm again. And you're going to feel, if you flex your hand back, you're going to feel a muscle kind of like pop up and want to pop you off. What we're going to do is we're going to just hook our fingertips in there and just flex. And this is called supinating, turning your hand to the side. And you can walk your fingertips around, and we want to just hook as if it was like a dog with like just gums only that was like biting onto you. We're creating a little pressure, and we're moving the muscle to effectively massage a little deep tissue along that line. And so you can hold around, but I just brought my thumb up here. It's a little bit more comfortable for me. And in this way, I'm walking my way down. I'm not pushing any lymph because we're just isolating one muscle. And down here especially, you'll feel if you put a little pressure on either side while you move the hand around, just doing little circles back and forth, you'll feel a little massage on either side. Beautiful. And from there, we're just going to do some nice light little strokes on the arm, as if you had a washcloth and you were just washing the arm up and towards the direction that you know we want the fluids to go. Beautiful. And now we're going to bring it just to the other side, same thing. So starting at the wrist, I'm going to just squeeze around the arm and give myself little tug strokes up towards the elbow. And in this way, it is important to have the thumb around the arm because we are kind of creating a little squeegee vacuum of pressure. I brought myself to the elbow, so I'm going to give myself, again, those little circles where you end in towards the body, clearing that space here. And flipping the hand, I'm going to do the underside of the arm now. And now that I'm back up to my elbow, I'm going to give myself that little hook in, and I'm going to massage the forearm by just rotating, flexing the hand. And if you're like doing a bunch of these, it might get tired. You can just pull, stretch, pull, find a spot where it's a little tight or icky and just move your hand a little bit around. These are just ways to give yourself deep tissue. And I'm working my way down towards the wrist, just isolating little muscle, pressing into the forearm. Feels great. If you press so hard that you get like numbness or tingling, that's too hard. So don't hurt yourself, you know. Should always feel super good. Amazing. So we're going to just give ourselves that nice little stroke of the bicep when you're ready. I think it's crazy how good this feels. Like just light skin touching. I mean, it's not super, super light, but you know, it just feels like a lot of relief for me, especially. Love that arm stuff. We're going to get a little openness in our chest and across our backside. If we're feeling pain behind our shoulders, oftentimes that's because we're hunching forward. This is all shortened, so that is actually over lengthened. So we think, oh, I want to stretch the back, when really it's a good balance of the two. So what we are going to do, we're going to bring our hands just behind our head. And on a nice deep inhale, we're going to just angle the back, looking up towards the ceiling, letting our hands be supported by, or letting our head be supported by our hands, elbows pressing back and open. Nice breath in, bring the breath down into your belly, and on the exhales, we're going to use the weight in our hands to pull our head just lightly, gently forward, bringing the elbows together. Chin is coming to our chest. Nice deep exhale, get all that old carbon dioxide out of the lungs. And on that inhale, let's pull back for 4, 3, 2, 1. Taking a nice deep inhale, fill the lungs, pull the air all through your body, feel it circulate through the legs. And on the exhale, gently pulling the head forward, elbows forward, chin tucks to the chest. 2 more just like that. Thinking on that nice deep inhale, we're creating space, so we're beginning by shooting that air down into the diaphragm, down into the belly, and then when we get to the top, we're filling all the way to the chest. So we have just filled ourselves like a balloon of oxygen, full of that light. And on the exhale, pushing out any negativity or anxiety from the week, pushing it out of the body, creating no space for anything negative. Elbows pulling towards each other. Let's do 1 more just like that. I love that. Nice deep breath in, open up. You might be feeling you have more room to actually expand here. And when you're ready, go ahead and take a final deep exhale. We will continue nice deep breathing throughout the class, but we're going to be moving on to other parts of our body. Bring the hands down to the knees before looking up. Very nice. Love that. Let's see. Let's get into some fun little leg stretches. So if you do have any sensitivity in the knees, then this is going to be nice and gentle. We're going to stay on our bottoms. I'm just moving so you can see me a little bit better. I'm going to extend my right leg. A little bend is, however much bend you need is fine. And I'm bringing my left leg in to where my foot is along where my thigh is. I think that's probably clear. So we're just making that space there. And with the bend in the knee, I'm flexing my foot back towards me. I think we all can see there. On nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, we're just going to press the leg gently away from us as we bring our body closer to the leg. Still, you can even bring your hands behind the knee to give a little support for the knee. I think that feels great no matter how flexible you are because we're supporting the joint there. Inhale, pulling the knee up towards the body a little bit, just tensing that muscle. And on the exhale, again, pushing the foot. So I'm coming from here, I'm pushing the foot away from me as I bring my body down, which is just going to create a nice stretch. I'm holding my knee because I think it feels nice to give it a little support. And I'm not pushing my knee down, I'm supporting it. So you kind of can press your leg down into your hands and you create a little like lever of support for your body, if that makes sense. And let's do at our own pace of breathing. On the inhale, we lightly pull up on the leg, heel pulls in towards our body, and on the exhale, we kick it away from us as we bring ourselves down. And on this next exhale, when you find yourself nice and extended, we can really gently just open our body. So my chest is facing the class. You can from here either bring the hand behind the head, you can reach up, you can just let the arm be by the side. But we're going to create that opening. And bring the body back down to the leg. And with your hand support, let's bring that knee up. And we're going to work on this right leg. We're just going to do a little bit of the lymphatic work here. To begin, we're going to find this spot. So basically where the big toe and the second toe, I'll show it to you guys, big toe and the second toe webbing is, we're going to just put a little pressure. And let's do some circles here. We're going to do that for about 30 seconds. We're going to hit a couple immune boosting spots along this leg, this being one of them. And we're rubbing, you can do little circles, and it's just the webbing between these two toes is where we're going to bring that attention and pressure there. And you can do circles in either direction. Moving our way up from there. Where the two toes come together, there's a little seam, you'll feel it creates like a little V. Find that point and then just go right into the divot beneath it. So it comes together about here on me and then down. And you can use both fingers supported and just give yourself a nice little activation on that point as well. Bringing ourselves to the ankle, just like we did for the arms, we're going to give ourselves a nice little squeeze. So I'm using my hands to squeeze in towards each other, a little bit interlaced. We're going to do the front side and the back side, and we're just lightly brushing. And I'm using my core to pull the body back. I'm going to do 2 of those. And then just on the back side, I'm flexing the foot. And again, I'm pulling up and towards me. If you don't have long pants on, you can use a little serum here, and that might help with a little bit of the glide. You do want it a little grippy because we are creating that vacuum of pressure. And now we found ourselves behind the knee, bringing the hands as if we were kind of how we do when we do the breaking bread. If you've done a foot massage with me before, we're hooking onto either side, and we're just pulling back and along. This area is a big lymph node site as well, and that probably is pretty apparent because people will get like a lot of inflammation in the leg and knee. It's because we have a lot of flow going on down here, and without a pump it's much harder for the body to get everything all the way up to our collarbones, right? So you can do about 10-15 pumps here. And a little fun knee work. So I have a little bent leg. If you have a towel, you can put it behind the leg for it to be straight. But I think just gently with the knee, we're going to find the knee bone, this patella here, and pressing around it, you'll see the bone has like a little space. There's a lot of tendons and connective tissue in here. We're going to do a whole circle of this knee with about a 3 to 4 pressure. I'm going to use my main 3 fingers, just pressing together at the front of the knee, just underneath the bone. There's some squishy stuff. And we're going to do circles. And we're just going to be bringing the fingers about a 1/2 inch apart. And we're going to do the circumference, or diameter. No, circumference is the whole thing, right? Yeah. Of the knee in little 1/2 inch flows. And for this one, the circles are going up. So we're not pushing it down. I guess both ways we end on an up tilt. But let's just make sure as we're pulling and moving this fluid, we are encouraging up towards the heart, towards the collarbones. And you might be surprised, you might be feeling some like really kind of chunky, weird stuff as you get through this. And that's probably a good sign that you needed a little work here. I'm going to use both hands along my thigh and give myself nice circulation boosting lymphatic pulls up towards the groin, which is basically the armpit of the leg. The knee a little bit. The knee is the elbow, and the groin is our leg armpit. I've never said that before. Is that insane? I love it.
That's 100% a thing.
Okay, thank you. And now we're just going to focus on this is our little adductor site. This is, like I said, we're going to do a little of that axillary on the groin. So we're just clearing this just like we did for the armpitties. And I'm not quite on the pubic area. I'm just in this little groin area where the fold happens when you close the leg. Which, if that makes sense, look, the fold of the leg, that's like a pump just like the arms would be. Magic. Beautiful. I'm going to bring that right leg to bend, and I'm going to start extending the left. Same thing we did on the other side, we're going to do over here. So I have my left leg out and away from me, bending at the knee, heels pulling towards my body. I'm going to make a little bit more space for you. And I'm supporting behind the knee on my inhale. And on the exhale, I'm pressing the heel away from me and pulling my chest. I'm using my arms to pull my body down towards my leg. On the inhale, I'm pulling up. And on the exhale, pressing away from me. Inhale, pulling up. And on the exhale, pressing away. Letting my body come to the leg. I like doing it in these repetitions because I think I get more time to explore what feels good. Sometimes when you're like holding a pose for a long time, you find yourself in this position and like a couple seconds in, you're like, I maybe overshot this one a little bit. But with these repetitions, you get to like orient yourself to your breath, to what feels good at any given moment, and I like that. On this next exhale, when you find yourself in a nice extended position, we're going to do the same thing, keeping a little support for that knee area here if you like that. And I'm just going to open my chest up to the right. That could be as gentle as bringing your arm up. Hand could be behind the head, just creating space along the side of the body, across the chest. I think this feels great. You can always pop the hand down overhead too and get a little bit length that way. Feel that all the way down into the hips here. And bringing myself back to the leg, chest to the leg. On the next inhale, I'm pulling the leg up, creating that little bend here. And we are going to activate that same spot, the webbing of the big toe and the second toe. We're just going to give some rubbies here. Little circles. Think of how much effort it takes for the heart to send blood down to our toes. Woof. And if we were wearing shoes or socks all day, these little guys are just cramped. They are not getting their space and their love. We're going to work our way up. The space where those two tendons come together creates that little V. We're going to find that spot and then just fall right into the notch beneath it. And let's activate that point. Little circles, little frictions up and down, little scrubbies like you're scouring it with a little Brillo pad. I had surgery here when I was 16 or 17. And the scar tissue is so little, but it still acts up, and this is like such a sensitive spot for me. And it's important for cleansing as far as like traditional Chinese medicine goes. So I feel like that's its whole sign. Maybe that's why I'm obsessed with lymph. Who knows? Bringing our hands to squeeze around the ankle. Doing the same little hand squeezy on the top of the leg. Just encouraging the flow up towards the knee. If you get shin splints, this feels really nice too because you're massaging and bringing blood flow to the area where that bone is, or the muscle's pulling away from the bone. That's what a shin splint is. So in this way, we're encouraging speedier healing here. And doing the underside of my leg. And again, you could just use your arms to pull up. I use my whole body. Ooh, it feels good on the calf. My whole left leg today, I'm telling you guys. Woof. Just like squeezing the toothpaste. And when I find myself up to that popliteal behind the knee, I'm going to, again, just create some nice strokes, pulling behind the knee. And where my thumbs are is pretty much activating the front side of the knee as well as like an added bonus. The focus is on like this little brushing effect, but we're getting a little blood flow on the top of the knee as well. It's interesting, a whole thing for me when I talk about my arms from being on the computer, it's also my knees from sitting at the computer. Just being at that little bent position, they holler. So bringing our fingertips to meet just below the knee bone, the patella. finding a little meaty area below the knee, and we're just going to do those little circles. And bringing the fingertips about a 1/2 inch apart each time. This one's especially for you, Jake. I want to do a whole knee class. I was like, oh yeah, this will be good. Okay, good. You might, especially for you, some of you might feel if you have like a little spot, an attachment, there'll be something and it'll really say like, oh hey, this is like just as good of a knot as you could get in your shoulder. So it's nice to bring some blood flow. We're essentially ironing out if you have adhesions in here. Bringing it around. I have a little crunchy spot right there where when I run my finger over it, it kind of like crunches under the pressure. Again, being gentle with this area, but gentle sometimes means that it's an area that really doesn't get any attention, so this will be really good for that. Now I'm just going to be squeegeeing the thigh up towards the groin. And I kind of do like a side to side. You could do like all top strokes, all back strokes. I just like to do what feels good to me, which is kind of like this rhythmic movement. Rhythmic movement is also an engager of that parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest. And again, opening up the leg here, clearing this inguinal area is what it's called, this little groin, as if it was the armpity. Okay, bringing the leg just across in front of us, if that's comfortable. If not, just find a comfortable seated position. Let's see, actually I feel like I could explain this. I'm going to have you guys, if it's comfortable for you, you can go ahead and come to a laying down position. I'm going to explain, we're going to do some belly work. So if you're in a t-shirt, I encourage you to pull your shirt up. You can bring the waistband of your pants down. You could bring a little bit of serum to your hands. Let's see. It's going to be tummy time. And I'm just going to be like this. I want you guys to get nice and comfortable because if you're laying down, your abdominals aren't going to be doing the work that's going to be fighting the massage that we're going to give to our tummies. The thoracic lymphatic duct is really a major part. The sternochyli is really important for the pumping of the lower body to the upper body. So when you find yourself in a nice, comfortable laying down or like leaning back reclined position, we're going to take our serum and we're going to start with our hand on our right side of our tummy, and we're always going to be working clockwise with the belly because that's how our digestive system works. And so just bringing these nice clockwise strokes. You can use both hands, hand on top of hand. Really imagining this as if you were like 4 or 5 years old and an important caregiver to you was giving you a tummy rub because you weren't feeling good. And imagine that soothing, caring experience. This is very good for the digestive system. Clockwise, so bringing the hands up to noon, over to 3, down to 6, back over to 9, up to noon. These are nice slow movements. And now bring your hands together just over lightly the pubis area. We're going to work our way down from just below the belly button, and we're going to work our way up to below the rib cage. And we're going to be just gently pressing our right hand across to the left side. And we're just going to go in strokes. So if you're confused, you can watch for a second, but it's really gently just using our hands to push our right side of our belly across to the left. We're giving our organs a little massage here, so it's light pressure. I'm starting back down at the bottom, encouraging the flow, warming up the digestive system. And now bring your fingertips together right where your rib cage comes together. Fall right below the bones of that breastbone, in between the ribs. And on a nice inhale in, you're going to be just lightly pressing down into the body. And on the exhale, you'll relax the fingertips. Bring them about a 1/2 inch apart. On the next inhale, you're pressing in just below the rib cage. And on the exhale, release the fingers, move about a 1/2 inch apart. And we're effectively giving ourselves a nice, gentle, visceral massage, activating the thoracic pump, clearing out toxins. And we're just pressing in on the inhale and relaxing the fingertips on the exhale, bringing it along the line of the rib cage. And bring your right hand across to your left side of your belly and just pulling it in, right side, in the little hook of the hips of your left hand on the right. So basically our arms are crossed. We're giving ourselves a little tummy hug and just pulling the fingertips across. So we're giving ourselves a nice stroke massage, a little lift from the back side, just pulling it across the belly. And from there, you can let your arms just fall by your side. Taking inventory of the body. Feel your toes, relax your toes. Feel your feet, relax the feet. Noticing your calves, relaxing any of that tension left in the calves. Noticing your knees and your thighs, letting those become heavy. Your bottom heavy, sinking into the floor or the bed. Your hips and your low back and your spine gently pulling towards the earth. Shoulders pulling down away from the ears. Arms, forearms, hands and fingertips release and relax. Gently pulling away from the body, creating space in the neck, relieving the tension in your ears, eyebrows, eyes, nose, and lips. Nice and relaxed here. When you're ready, you can bring yourself up to a nice seated position. We're a few minutes over 8, but I would love to do our cold spoons now that we're super relaxed and zenned out. I would love to give us that little cooling sensation that will signify to our body that it's time to sleepy sleep. I'm going to grab my spoons. And if anyone would like, you can all bring yourself off of mute. Or you can stay on mute. It's totally up to you guys. But this is totally a time if you want to just chit-chat or share anything or say whatever you feel. This is totally open share time. And I'm going to be... Hi.
So good.
Thank you. I got so relaxed. And then I was like, oh, cold spoons. So we're going to do our little cold spoons. We're going to take the rounded... Oops, sorry. That's me. Let me see. I think it's just... Sorry, Ashley. I think it was just... I'm like reverberating on yours. Okay, so we've got our cold little spoonies. We're going to take the rounded side. And we're just going to lightly bring it together right under our eyes. And pulling up and away. This is a very interesting thing. When the body cools down, that's what signifies to us that it's actually time to sleep. I guess it has to do with like ancient times of like when the sun goes down, it cools down and it's part of our natural sleep process. I'm going to bring spoon, chasing spoon across the forehead. That's kind of a cool thing. I kind of always thought like warm in bed, but I guess it's a lot more ancient than that whole idea. Bringing the little base of the spoon right into that ridge of the eyebrow, pulling across. I'm going to do about 3 of those. Oh, pressure feels so good. I'm an eyebrow person today. And when we get to the outside edge of that eyebrow, let's give ourselves 3 nice little temple circles. Loving it. Go ahead and pulling across the upper lip, out and up. I'm pushing up under my cheekbone. Down to my jawline, we're re-sculpting that little area. It feels so different than when I started. Feels great. I'm going to just flip the spoons, just give myself that little underside of the jaw. Oh yeah. If your spoons are still cool, you can give yourself a nice little ear rubby. And then gently down the neck. I like to do all like front, back, center. And this is nice light pressure, but I can feel some little muscle spots in there. I'm going to do the back side of my neck too. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Oh, and let's just give ourselves a little terminus live. Amazing. Okay, I feel amazing. I'm so excited that we got to all be together.